Hello, student. How are you? Today, I, Dr. Shafali Jain, Assistant Professor at Thankar Mavi University. Today, student, we discuss about the shift in demand and supply curve. Why demand and supply curve shift, and when we get the equilibrium. Demand curve. Demand is first of all, I also explain what is demand. Demand is the amount of a product that consumers are willing and able to purchase at any assumed, that is effective demand, and it is backed up money and ability to buy. So always demand curve, and it is the demand curve, but the law of demand state that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, and the lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. Naturally, consumers are willing and able to pay less at the price rises. This result in downward sloping demand curve. I have also discussed it in the previous video. The demand curve always downward sloping curve, and movement along the demand curve are therefore caused by changes in price, and it is also shift. Now we discuss about the supply. Supply is the amount of a product which supplier will offer to the market at a given price. It is the supply. As the price of an item goes up, supplier will attempt to maximize their profits by increasing the quantity offered for sale. This means that the lower the price is, the lower the quantity supplied, and the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied. A low price level, only the most efficient suppliers can make a profit. So supply is limited. As price increases, the profit motives attract new resources to supply, and the higher price allows less efficient producer to make a profit. So as price increases, supply also increases. In this video, we also discuss the excess demand and excess supply. After this, when the demand curve and supply curve intersect, we have a point where the quantity that consumer are willing to purchase matches quantity that suppliers are willing to supply at a given price. This point is known as the market equilibrium, and I have also discussed it in the previous video. From the market equilibrium, we can drive market price and market quantity. This market equilibrium is not fixed. It is likely to change over time due to changes in patterns of demand and supply. So many times excess demand and excess supply also takes place. Excess demand is the condition of shortage of supply. It's also say shortage of supply is the condition that exists when quantity demanded exceeds quantity supplied at the current price, and excess supply or shortage of demand, it is a condition of surplus. It's a condition that exists when the quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded at the current price. So now we discuss about the shift in demand and supply curve. Why the demand curve and supply curve is shifted as as well as price. There are a number of other factors which affect the demand and supply for a product, whereas a change in price will cause a movement up or down the demand and the supply curve. Other factor might cause the curves to shift. This means that more or less of a product will be demanded or supplied at any given price. As you I will also explain here. Here you see that see the demand curve. The demand curve can shift outward in right, or inward in left. Here left and right outward. If the demand curve shift out, This means that more is demanded at each price level. This increase in demand is shown by the shift to a new demand curve. If it shift, यदि डिमांड का शिफ्ट होता है आउटवर्ड राइट की तरफ, तो इसका मतलब इज द इंक्रीज इन डिमांड, और यदि इनवर्ड लेफ्ट की तरफ शिफ्ट होता है इट मींस decrease in demand. So this increase in demand is shown by the shift to a new demand curve D1. It is D1. D1 in the diagram is the show in the increase in demand, and inward shift inward shift to a new demand curve D2 indicates decrease in demand. This indicates that less in demanded at each price. So now the effect of equilibrium in the prices. So I think how the demand curve shift when the prices increases, demand curve inward shift, and when the prices decreases, demand curve shift right, outward shift. So there are many factors that affect a demand curve. Why demand curve shift rightward and why demand curve shift inward? Firstly, an increase in consumers' income is likely to shift our demand curve to the right for most normal and luxurious goods. With more disposable income period, by more on the things they want. So as income increases, the demand for car, holidays, electronics, um, consumer uses electronics also increases. Electronics items, a fall in income will cause the demand curve to shift inward. Yeah, inward. It's inward and to the left. Demand decrease, and a change in taste and fashion can also shift the demand curve. If goods become more fashionable, the demand curve shift to the right. The good more fashionable, demand curve shift to the right, increasing demand at all prices level. If goods become increase, if goods go out of fashion, the demand curve shift left. And other factors which shift the demand curve include a change in the price of the other goods, and as complementary goods. Complementary goods are those goods which go together. Complementary goods are those used alongside another goods. For example, if demand for holidays increases, demand for luggage or perhaps luggage and travel tickets also increase. Bill and also sunscreen lotion will also increase. A change in the price of the substitute goods will also shift the demand curve. Substitute is a goods used instead of another goods. For example, if ticket train fares increases, some people will switch to private transport and travel by car. This may lead to an increase in the demand for petrol. Shifting in the demand curve for petrol to the right, if the price of airlines tickets were to increase, then it is likely that demand for holidays at home in the is also increase. And a successful and also other factors also factor demand curve. A successful advertising campaigns can cause the demand curve for a product to shift to the right. However, bad publicity will have the opposite effect, that cause a shift to the left. And change in population will also affect as the larger population needs larger output. This has resulted an increase in demand, uh, increase in when the population is large. The resources also needs large numbers of, and they all demand can also shift to the right. And government policies may also have an impact on the demand for certain product uh, when the government also take more taxes on the things, demand curve shift inward, and because the cost of the things is also increased. Now we see the effect on equilibrium price of a change in demand curve. The diagram show here, the diagram show a shift outward. Here you see outward the demand curve caused by perhaps increasing income or the increasing price of the substitute goods. Initially, at market equilibrium, we have price P here, and quantity Q. A new equilibrium is created where T1 cut the original supply curve, prices rise P1, and the quantity demanded for the supplied exit Q1. So, uh, in the diagram, you see how the demand curve shift outward. Now we see here. It meant now we see the demand curve shift inward. Uh, in this diagram, we see a shift to the left of the demand curve, perhaps caused by a fall in price of the substitute. Again, we start with equilibrium with price P. Here, P and quantity Q. After the shift in demand curve, we have a new equilibrium. Equilibrium with price P1 and quantity Q1. The impact of the shift in of the demand curve has been to reduce price. ये price reduce हो गए and to cause a contraction in quantity demanded and supplied. So P1 and quantity supplied reduce वो क्या with price P1 quantity Q1. The impact of the shift to demand curve has been to reduce price to cause a contraction in quantity demanded and supply. So you see that demand curve go inward, left side. Now we see shift in supply curve. Like demand curve can also change independent of any change in price. Supply at each price level can also increase, shift outward, or amount supplied at each price level can decrease. First of all, we also discuss why demand curve shift upward and downward. Sorry, inward and outward. One of the most important factors that changes supply independent of any change in price is a change in cost. If supplier's cost fail, resulting from a factor such as a fall in the prices of raw material or cost of labor, this increased supply and shifting the supply curve outward and to the right and to the right. Here you see now at each price level more is supplied. Rising cost will have the opposite effect and shift the supply curve inward here, inward and to the left. With it, weather can have a significant impact on supply of agriculture product. Increased output is likely to result from a good harvest. This again shift the supply curve outward and outward to the right. And bad weather, of course, has opposite effect. And with it, introduction of new technology, especially in production techniques, also increase supply. This increase in predictability and shift the supply curve outward and to the right. And with it, the legislations can also have a significant impact on supply of some product. Increased degrees find their costs are increasing because they have to com- uh, They have also competitions. So many suppliers are not able to face this competition. This is why the supply curve inward and shifted to the left. When government imposes a tax on a good or service, this too cause the supply curve to shift to the left. And now we see, I think you have to understood the supply curve. Now the effect on equilibrium price of a change in supply. Here you see the diagram show a shift outward to the right to supply curve and perhaps caused by falling cost. Initially at market equilibrium, we have price, first of all, P, and quantity, Q. The shift outwards result in fall in price to P2. P2 and an increased quantity demanded and supplied at Q2. The diagram also shown a shift to of the supply curve S1. Okay, S1. You see here, perhaps caused by a bad harvest. Initially at market equilibrium, we have price P. P. So this diagram shows that outward, the shift outward result in a fall in price to P2. P2, it's here, P2. And increased quantity demanded. Increased quantity demanded here. Quantity demanded and supplied at Q2. The diagram also show a shift to supply curve S1. Here, S1. Perhaps caused by a bad harvest. Initially, at market equilibrium, we have price P and Q. The shift in supply curve to the left result in an increase in price to P1 and fall in quantity demanded and supplied Q1. As you see, I think you hope understood. Now we discuss about the equilibrium. Equilibrium is the condition that exists when quantity supplied and quantity demanded are equal. Only in equilibrium is quantity supplied equal to quantity demanded. And equilibrium price, the price that balances quantity supplied and quantity demanded on a graph. It is the price at which the supply and demand cuts intersect. Here you see where the supply and demand cut each other. Equilibrium quantity, the quantity supplied and quantity demanded at the equilibrium price. It is the equilibrium supply and equilibrium demand. Here it's 600, 600. Equilibrium on the graph, it is quantity at which the supply and demand curve intersect each other. It is the equilibrium price, it is the equilibrium quantity, and it is a quantity demanded. Hope student you well understood what is the excess demand, what is the excess supply, and how they can get equilibrium in the market. And you also understood in the previous video, I also explained the market equilibrium and why what factors affect the market demand and what factors affect the market supply and how the equilibrium price the market got the equilibrium price in this schedule. You see when the price is $1 per gallon, then the quantity demanded 800 and quantity supplied 500. When the price increases, the quantity demanded 700, the quantity demanded decreased and the quantity supplied increased. And here the condition of excess supply, meaning surplus condition. And when the price is $1.40, in this point, it is a price equal to quantity supply 600. It's a equilibrium price and equilibrium supply and price. And when the price also increase $1.60, and this point The quantity demanded decrease and quantity supply increase due to the profit. When the price also more increase, and it's a condition of the excess demand and shortage. So student, I hope you well understood what is the excess demand, what excess supply, what is the reason of the excess supply, and what factor affect the supply, and how the market get equilibrium, what is the equilibrium price. So thank you very much.